Earlier this week, we told you about a coalition in Michigan that is looking for new ways to hold debates in the state, starting with the U.S. Senate race this fall.
The new Michigan Debate Task Force is urging Senate candidates to participate in 3 debates so voters can hear from them directly in an unfiltered format.
So joining us now is David Dulio. He is heading the task force. He's also professor and director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. So if you could start by explaining why do we need a specialized group to take this on and why now?
Sure. Well, lots of reasons, but I would give you 2 main points about why we need some sort of independent entity to manage these debates. Number one is the simple fact that in Michigan and across the country, the number of times that voters have been able to hear from candidates for high office in an unproduced, unfiltered way has been declining over the years. You go back to 2022, and we had no debates between the Attorney General candidates, no debates between the Secretary of State candidates, only 2 with the gubernatorial candidates. The second piece of it is when debates have occurred in Michigan, it's always been up to the candidates that they get to decide everything, whether they're going to occur, when they're going to happen, where they're going to be. All of those decisions then are made, understandably, frankly, from their perspective, right, in their self-interest. If I was a campaign manager, I would say the same thing, right, that we want to have it advantage us, right? Well, that's fine, but that doesn't always match up with the public interest, which is what we're trying to solve with the establishment of this task force and say, hey, look, we're going to focus on the voters, focus on the public, and try to guarantee folks an opportunity to hear from these folks in that unproduced manner rather than through 30-second TV commercials or events with friendly audiences.
Yeah. Sure. There's always been a goal to try to persuade votes, but do you think in recent years those efforts to influence have become a little out of control?
Well, in fact, Terrence, I think that in recent years it's been less about persuasion and just more about voter turnout and playing to the base, right? And I think if you know, there are going to always be those persuadable voters that are out there, and they're usually hungry for information at the very end of the campaign. You know, junkies like us have been paying attention for months and months and months, right? But the folks who are just dabbling in politics are looking for information right at the end. And if a debate occurs at that point, they're going to get that information. And frankly, candidates won't be able to play exclusively to the base with those eyes on the television screen.
It seems there would be a challenge. We've seen on the national level, and we've seen it trickle down, some candidates just outright refusing to participate in debates. So what do you do when a candidate just doesn't want to?
Well, I think what we need to do is provide an expectation for them to be there, right? I mean, and candidates often will threaten that. I mean, we've seen in the presidential race, for instance, Donald Trump has said, and the Republican Party has said, we're not going to take part in those presidential commission debates. But now, when it looks like Trump might have an advantage in those, he's all for it now, right? So things can change. But I think what we want to do is just set the expectation. Hey, look, you want to serve, in this case, as the next U.S. Senator from Michigan. The least you can do is come before the voters a few times and talk to them in a way that is respectful, civil, deliberative, and give voters a reason to vote for you.
Yeah. Can you tell us about some of the other efforts of this task force to get things back on track?
Sure. I mean, first and foremost, the task force is made up of 10 organizations from around the state. Importantly, very diverse organizations in terms of focus as well as in geography, and maybe we can get back to that because that's really important. But the main task here is to, again, provide regular opportunities for folks to hear from them with strong moderators who will make sure that the candidates actually answer the question that is posed to them rather than being able to dodge it maybe. And you know what we also want to try to do eventually, right? We're going to move incrementally here, but eventually is to potentially move away from the soundbite responses that so many folks say they don't like and might be not the greatest way to answer questions about big weighty issues in 30 seconds or 60
mic
seconds.
drop moments.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah. All right, we are short on time, but I do want to note we have those 3 locations,
Yes.
so around Michigan in different areas, and then anything you can tell us quickly about the format of these debates, what it would be.
Still working on format. Stay tuned on that. But
Okay.
well, in terms of the regions, really important. Northern Michigan going to be respected, going to be paid attention to, as well as West Michigan and here in Southeast.
All right, well, we look forward to discussing this more in the months to come. Oakland University professor David Dulio, also head of the new Michigan Debate Task Force. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me back.
And from cyber attacks